Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to my series of Captain America reviews leading up to Captain America Brave New World. And today I am reviewing it, Captain America Civil War, starring Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Tom Holland, Scarlett Johansson, and more. The plot is, political environments in the Avengers affairs causes a rift between Captain America and Iron Man. It's funny, you know, because this was actually the first MCU movie I saw in theaters. I remember going with my dad and a friend of mine at the time, and this was back in the days where you would basically have the whole theater filled seeing a new MCU movie, but I like that this is, because, well, I don't like, because it feels like that's kind of dead now, you know what I mean? Like, because theaters are dying and everyone likes to hate Marvel now. I love the opening fight scene in this movie. Seeing the Avengers that were not recruited, but basically Avengers at the end of Age of Ultron. Like, it's so cool because, like, you have them taking down Crossbones. This is what I love about the MCU. They can be within a trilogy how Civil War is a part of the Captain America trilogy, but you can have all these other characters popping in other people's movies because it's part of a grander universe. Like, it's crazy to me, right? So I think it's just one of those things where it's like, you look at it and you're like, wow, that is awesome. So I love that. I think that's great. And this movie plays with a very important, plays into an important part of Brave New World, right? Where it's the Sokovia Accords, and I would recommend seeing this movie before Brave New World because this movie is the introduction of the General Ross and Sam Wilson relationship because of the whole thing with the Sokovia Accords, and it's even mentioned in Brave New World that this is what made the Avengers split apart into two different Avengers. Almost like the X-Men in the comics, where you had X-Men the gold team and X-Men the blue team. You know, so it's kind of that type of thing, but except for working together, they're against each other. But yeah, no, so, and what makes this movie so special is the relationship between the Avengers, because it's so dysfunctional. Yes, we have seen the stepping stone for this in Age of Ultron, where Steve and Tony are getting firewood, and Steve just rips the firewood when they're arguing. I think that that's great, but actually seeing it, because the Avengers in the MCU are like a dysfunctional family, and it plays like that within Civil War, Infinity War, and even Endgame. Like, those trilogy of movies, because the Russo brothers do such a good job at making these movies feel like a connected universe, but also they capture the dysfunctional aspect of a family within the Avengers. And I think that that's amazing. You know, people call this movie Avengers 2.5, and they aren't wrong. This movie definitely acts like an Avengers movie with the scenes, like the opening action scene, the airport scene, like, and the situations between the characters. It plays like an Avengers movie, and I really like that about even though that this movie acts like an Avengers movie, this movie plays with the storyline of the Captain America trilogy that we've had, because the past two Captain America movies, like the first one ends with Steve crashing into the ice and being in the ice for like however many decades, and then leading into Avengers and leading into Winter Soldier, where Bucky's still alive, and that has a very emotional thing to it. And then this movie, obviously, the dysfunctional or the dysfunction of the Avengers and the Avengers falling apart. And I think that that's very, very good, and I love that about this, right? And I think that is so cool. And we get introduced to two of the most important characters in the MCU. We get introduced to Black Panther, played by the one and only, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man, which is one of the most important characters within the MCU at the moment, because, like, we've had his third movie a few years ago, where his fourth Spider-Man movie has been announced. He's apparently going to get a new trilogy. He's going to be in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. So, he is by far one of the most important characters within the MCU at the moment. And you can really tell within both this movie and Winter Soldier that why Steve gave Sam the shield. Because you couldn't have given it to Bucky. Because Bucky is a wanted criminal. And it shows in both the first movie and even this movie. It shows, like, Bucky's not worthy of the shield. So, you have that, right? But then also you have, like, the whole thing of, because Bucky has been working with Hydra, and which Sam has been Steve's best friend, basically, since Steve has come back from the ice. And you could argue that he's been Steve's friend longer than Bucky was, because ever since Sam was Steve's friend, Bucky has been doing bad things. So, it's just kind of one of those things. I think that the fight scenes in this movie have gotten better. The Russos really know how to direct action scenes with the movies like Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. Like, they really know how to direct action, like, really strong and good action scenes. I like the opening fight, the fight with Captain America and Bucky in the apartment that eventually goes to the highway with Black Panther, and of course the airport battle. Now, because, like, the airport battle is every nerd's dream. We get to see all these different characters find each other. Like, we get to see Ant-Man versus Black Widow. We get to see Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch versus Iron Man. We get to see, like, Bucky and Sam versus Spider-Man. We get to see Captain America versus Black Panther and War Machine. And me getting to see Captain America versus Spider-Man is such a oh my god thing, because I'm such a big fan of both of those characters. And I love those two characters, and I think it's just so cool seeing that. And also the thing is too, making our main character for the MCU that we've been following since 2008, making a bold choice to make him a villain. Like, it's not one of those villains that you're like, oh, this guy's an asshole. You're like, the movie plays with Tony in a way that you can fall on Steve's argument of, we shouldn't sign this, or you fall on Tony's side of, like, no, we should sign this, because stuff's going to happen, and we don't want any of this to happen again. So, it kind of plays like that, where it's kind of like a Thanos, where it's like, you don't necessarily agree with the way that he's gone about it, but you can go like, yeah, actually, you know what? I kind of see the point that he's making. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you watch that and you're like, oh my god, that is such a point. And it was nice seeing Tony getting back to Steve's side when Steve, and Bucky are looking at the base until like 5 minutes after, and then Tony becomes villain again. Like, which is a great thing. I really like that fight and that stretch, right? But it's also one of those things where it's like, you look at it and you're like, it was cool. Even though the fight scene is awesome, it's cool seeing them team up. And when Tony finally flips, you're just like, well, kind of saw that coming, because obviously how else are you going to play out Infinity War and Endgame? But, like, come on, we want to see more of Steve and Cap. That's the relationship that the MCU is built off of, and it destroys that in this movie, but for a good reason, because you need that conflict. I want to give Captain America Civil War a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's easily one of the best MCU movies. It's in my top 15 MCU movies of all time. I love this movie. I think it's great. But yeah, so guys, we're almost there to my review of Captain America: Brave New World. I will both do spoilers and non-spoilers. I don't really have a lot of spoilers to say, but I will do a video just so then you have a whole video of non-spoilers. But yeah, so guys, to see those, please hit the like button down below if you haven't already. Subscribe also to the little bell icon to get enough of future videos. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.
Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon.